Why become certified? First of all, it's necessary.
Hello and welcome to R&R's Ask the Expert. I'm Kayla McGowan, editor-in-chief, and today we have a very special episode. We are joined by this year's Ladder Award winner, Caleb Perot. He's the regional manager of ATI Restoration for the Seattle-Kent area office. So I would go into his background, but why not let him talk about himself? Please welcome Caleb.
Hi, my name is Caleb Perot. I'm with ATI Restoration out of the Seattle-Kent area. I've been with ATI going on about 3 years now, so having some fun over here.
3 years and already getting this iconic industry award, much deserved, for you and your dedication to the industry. So, for those who may not know how you got started in the industry, how did you get started and what inspired you to actually enter this industry in particular?
So I was sort of brought up in it in a way. I mean, I grew up on job sites with my father on weekends, spring break, summer break, all that fun stuff, helping from sweeping, um, you know, I used to cut his floorboards if we did some flooring and trim and casing, stuff like that. And then started being receptive and started learning and really starting to love it. And from then on, I just ran with it.
I was about to say the rest is history. I feel like in this industry, you either grow up around it or you stumble upon it. And just hearing, that you kind of grew up around it and you were like, hey, maybe this is for me is really refreshing. I'm sure that also made your dad very proud for you to kind of follow in his footsteps. So, with that being said, the Ladder Award celebrates leadership and innovation, which you encompass, by the way. And I know you know that, but for those who may not know and understand how passionate you are about this industry, can you share a moment or a project where you felt like you truly made an impact, whether it was on your team or for your customers, or maybe even for the industry?
I wouldn't necessarily say a moment. I would more say that at any time that I can offer my team a moment to learn without it obviously affecting something drastically, I take it. I mean, everybody's got to learn by their mistakes just as well as their successes. That's the most important part. You got to see the raw side of it. You got to see the good side of it. So, I mean, I very, or let me, sorry about that. Um, I focus on making sure that my team learns all aspects of their job so that they can truly do it correctly and do it fulfillingly.
Yeah, and that makes such a great leader, honestly, because you'd also want that done for you. So you're just really leading by example. I think also our success lies with our team. So giving them the opportunity to learn their job through and through, have confidence, build success not only for themselves, but for the company. And I think that's honestly very humble of you to say, if I'm being quite honest, because it's almost like they're your kids, right? You're so proud of them and all the work that they accomplish. So putting that extra time and love and care into it really does make a difference. So that means you're proud every day. It's not just one instance, which I think is really cool to really look at it that way. I actually was not expecting that, if I'm being quite honest. You have me a little tripped up here, but I do really appreciate that because that's really huge. Leadership is definitely something that's so important, but for you to be proud of it every day says so much about you and your dedication to not only ATI, but also the industry as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I got the opportunities that I was given through hard work and through having good mentors. That was the most important part. I mean, when I was over at Venturi before the acquisition from ATI, it was, I had Mitchell Martin, I had Derek Middleton, Justin Sellers, CJ Shea. I had a good group of guys there that kept a good eye on me and were always there to answer questions and always there to help. I mean, that's the biggest thing is you gotta pick a good group of people to surround yourself with and learn from them.
Yeah, 100%. I think, the generation before you helped you succeed, and now the torch has been passed, if you will, and it's your responsibility to help mentor and get the next generation ready to do the same for the following generations, which is huge, right? We learn from the best, and it's our job to share what we've learned, and it'll just carry on. That's part of legacy, which is really, really special because people who mentor, they actually touch several generations, after them, which you will be doing the same as well. So not only are you a great leader within your company, you're also pretty involved with your community. So how do you stay connected with your community? And why is it so important to you as a restoration professional to stay connected with your community?
So I think it's very important to stay connected within our community because everything we do sort of embodies community, right? We're in the recovery business, essentially. Nobody comes to us unless they have an issue, right? They need something solved. A lot of the times their greatest asset that they are ever going to put money into or invest in is at risk, right? And that requires community, that requires compassion. It really requires a lot of care. And I mean, I think that that's the most important thing is coming into any project with a family setting, you know, being communicative, caring as much as you possibly can, and communicating as much as you possibly can. Because these people, they're going through a hard time.
Yeah, they really are. And I would definitely say too, it's not just when they need you, it's all year long, whether you guys are like involved with the local sports teams or like your chamber of commerce, you also live in that community. So even more reason to be involved, right? For you and your
Yeah.
family. And, I think that's also the other thing is like, what would we want other local businesses to do in our community, right? So we kind of lead by example as well. And so, when that time comes, where they're faced with something, they're comfortable, they have a rapport with you, they know who you are and how you can help them, which makes a huge difference. We are consumers too, and I've had my own water loss. I don't know if you had any of your own losses, but if you think about that time that happened, it's like, ooh, if I didn't know this industry, I probably would have been like so distraught trying to figure out who to go to, right? Like, oh my gosh, how overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, it could really catch somebody off guard. I mean, I hear a lot of the times that people they'll have a flood and they'll immediately call the police, right? There's no guideline to what you should do in the industry that we work in. It's sort of up in the air. I mean, they don't tell you, I mean, they tell you call your insurance, but that's pretty much it. Or Google something, right? So,
Yeah, that's so true, Google. And, of course, when something changes the way of your life, whether it's small or big, your mind takes over, adrenaline takes over. And if you call the fire department or the police, and, in your mind, that makes sense. And they're like, hey, well, we can't really help you with that. So then next best thing is Google, right? And Google can lead you to some of the right sources, which is wow, technology, right? Thank God for technology. And, I think we're probably in a really good age group for technology and leading by example, not only for the younger generation below us, but even some of the older generation above us. So I know you guys use technology there at ATI. How have you embraced, the technology that we have in this industry? And was it hard for you guys? Like, did you guys have any struggles?
I mean, there's a learning curve to everything, right? But I mean, if you get a good footing under you and you really hone in on the training and the onboarding of the technology that you're trying to utilize for your success, it's going to work out just fine. But I mean, we utilize technology in any way we can because it assists us in better product all around the board, better internal communication, better external communication, better documentation, you name it.
Well, I would definitely say too, if it doesn't help you and it help your business, then maybe it's not the right thing for you. So there's nothing wrong with not utilizing all of the technology that is available, but use what's right, right? It's an aid. It helps you, have better time management, better communication. But at any time, if it interrupts any of that, it's okay to put that to the wayside. Not all technology is designed for everybody at that given time, but hey, maybe 5 or 10 years down the road, you might pick up that same technology and now it does wonders for your business, which I think is great because in our age group, we're able to kind of say, maybe it doesn't work, but maybe in 5 years it will, right? No different from the Apple and Android, right? We have all of those conversations. I was an avid Android user and I had an Apple one time and I was like, I'm never getting an Apple again. And here I am, Mac this, Apple Watch, Apple phone, all of these things.
I'm
And
with you
so,
there.
but I mean, at one point we probably were like, oh, we're going to stay with a Droid, right? It just seemed like it made sense. And then Apple changed something and, they all have us hooked. I think, Apple for life at this point. But, that helps us in the business management mentality, to say, hey, we should embrace this technology. How does it help us? It doesn't have to be so scary. And I think you lead by example with that as well, because you get to try it, right? I think that's the other thing is, yes, you're a leader, but you're also part of the team. So why wouldn't you dive in and roll your sleeves up and try that stuff out?
Oh, of course. I mean, you can't really ask anybody to get into something that you wouldn't get into. And I mean, how are you supposed to help? How are you supposed to help your team if you don't understand what they're doing?
100%. I mean, truly spoken like a true leader there. You want to know how it works, if it's doing anything that is beneficial to your business or not. Because the last thing you want to do is say, hey, team, here, use this. And then, numbers are down or, whatever the case may be. And it's like, well, why is it that way? And they're like, well, the technology you gave us doesn't work. You would never want that to happen because that's a setback that's awful, oftentimes hard to come back from when you're unaware of that type of stuff. So we kind of touched on this a little earlier, like something that in your career brought you joy. But what part of your job is like the most fulfilling for you, right? It could be anything specific as far as like a task or when you're challenged or just like the interaction that you have with your team. What is like the most joyful and fulfilling part of your job there at ATI?
I think the most joyful and fulfilling would probably have to be seeing the everyday progress of my team essentially coming upon the solution-oriented mindset, right? Because they see the mistakes, they have experienced the mistakes, they understand how to mitigate them now and cut them out of the equation. And a lot of the times, they'll come to me and say, well, hey, this happened and this is how I handled it. And they handled it. That's the most important part. They handled it on their own. They had the capacity to handle it. That's the best part is to see it in real time every day.
And I would definitely say too, like that light bulb moment is like so priceless, right? Especially with somebody who's like just so passionate about what we do. And maybe it's something that like has tripped them up in the past or whatever. And then they just have that moment where they've overcome that obstacle, or maybe they were frustrated and, just like to see that and then them like be so prideful of that is just so refreshing. It also, makes you step back and say, this is why I do this, right? It's not just about our consumers, but it's also about our team. And so it's just like a proud leadership slash parent moment at that point, right? Because you've seen them grow and blossom and evolve. And then at that point, sometimes they're ready for the next step in their career too, right? Like maybe it's that last thing that they just needed to fulfill for themselves before maybe they go from a tech to a lead to maybe operations or project manager. And it's just like one of those moments that is so pivotal for them that just you can't help but just smile and be so proud of them, right?
Well, at the same time, they could go through and reciprocate the same mentorship mentality into somebody else, and it keeps going. It keeps affecting people. It keeps changing lives. That's the most important part. It's the butterfly effect.
It really is. And I think it's so important too because you're able to share and really get on that level with people like, hey, I too once struggled with this and this is how I did it. Maybe, things have changed and maybe you have a better approach, a more efficient and effective approach, which is really cool too, because I think we haven't gotten to where we are today without some type of evolution, but also learning from those before us, right? I mean, if we look at equipment, if we look at response time, if we look at project management systems, even our vehicles have changed a ton, right? There's just so much to see how, one mindset or one conversation could just, like you said, butterfly effect, kind of just affect multiple people from there on out. So you've been in the industry for your whole life, basically, but you've been in this role for, you said, 3 years. For someone who is thinking about entering the space or maybe just joining your team, what advice would you give them about building a meaningful and successful path in our industry, not just for themselves, but the future of the industry?
Yeah, so I've been in the regional manager position for 2 years. Um, Sorry about that. So for 2 years, but I mean, my biggest advice is the mentorship. Pick somebody that you can qualify and, look up to and learn from, and don't just stop at one person. Seriously, that's the most important part is because so many people can provide you with so much insight and intelligence that you do not have, that you need to tap into all of it. And you need to keep that, flow of information going.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think, everybody in this space has something to offer. That's the other thing is like for people who are coming into this space, there's not just one person or one specialty. Like our industry is really big, and I think that for somebody who wants to come in, you may see something now, but later on down the road, you could actually change something or add a new position into this industry because it is ever evolving. And so I feel like this industry is really good for people who want to take control of their future, but also help people at the same time. It's very unique. This industry is very unique, but well said. Mentorship is huge, and you can find mentorship in people who do operations, people who are in the field, marketing. I mean, finance. There's just so much here in this industry to offer, and really, I feel like we offer a lot of options for the next generations to come for sure.
Most definitely. And I mean, that's how this industry continues to build. I mean, we got to keep pouring into the newer generations. We got to keep pouring into, you know, the members of our team that are green, that we take off of no industry experience whatsoever and pour into them strictly because of their ambition and their character. Because everything that we have in this industry can be taught, but you cannot teach character and ambition.
That is 100% true. Well said. Well, I mean, honestly, there's a couple of things you can't teach, right? And that's honestly one of them is the love for this industry too. It's a very unique love, if you will. I think sometimes it's a love-hate relationship, but it's a beautiful one at the end of the day. So we've talked a lot about our industry, but I wanted to just kind of pivot to you a little more specifically, maybe outside of work. What is something that somebody doesn't, I mean, not somebody, but most people in industry that maybe don't know about you? Like what hobbies or passions or maybe even side projects do you have that you just are really prideful of, or maybe somebody wouldn't expect this of you that you wouldn't mind sharing with us?
Yeah, so unfortunately, with the sun going on right now, I have to stick with golf. But I prefer during the winter months to snowboard. I like to make it up there as much as I possibly can, whether that's going 2, 3 days in a row and taking a long weekend or planning a trip. I mean, I've already got 2 trips planned for this winter, and I don't even know when the snow's going to be on the ground yet, so I'm hoping so.
I would definitely say you're putting that into the atmosphere so that there is going to be snow on the ground for you. If you make these plans, it just has to happen. But I would definitely say golfing is pretty big in our industry. So I definitely think that you're in the right place, right? Like, I feel like most of our events have golfing attached to them. So, hey, I think golfing is not necessarily a bad thing, but I would definitely say, I love the snow. I feel like the snow is definitely just a different feeling, if you will. I don't know. Maybe for you it's a little different because you see it more than I do down in here in Vegas. But, what do you love most about, going out and snowboarding and stuff?
It's quiet. It's quiet, and the adrenaline is just unmatched. I mean, essentially, you could be cruising 40, 50 miles an hour down a hill, and the only thing that's keeping you standing upright is just because you're leaning on your heels or your toes, depending on direction, right? I will say, I love golf. I do not think golf loves me, so I don't want to downplay golf at all.
I would definitely say golf is definitely one of those love-hate sports, if you will. I played softball all through like elementary, middle school, and high school. And when I was done with high school, I golfed with my parents a lot. And when you go from like softball or baseball to golf, that doesn't transition very well. So I definitely am with you on that. I like golf, but I don't think golf likes me very much. Um, but I just before we close, another huge congratulations to you on becoming the Ladder Award winner of 2025. What a huge accomplishment. And you mentioned it's your first award. So congratulations on that. And I hope to see you win many more in your career. Before we sign off, though, I wanted to let everybody know you can actually watch Caleb receive his award at the industry party at the Experience on Wednesday, September 3rd from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And we get to hand him his award and all of his glory. And we can't wait to do that. So, we see you there. You'll get to see Caleb achieve this really great honor to receive the Ladder Award. But I'd like to thank you so much, Caleb, for joining me today. And I can't wait to see you in September. And as always, take care, and we will see you on the next Ask the Expert.